to the UK by Jenny Dooley and Virginia Evans. Let's start. The United Kingdom, or the UK, is in northwest Europe and is made up of 4 countries. The island of Great Britain contains England, Wales and Scotland. The 4th country is the northern part of the island called Ireland. The UK has got its own flag. This flag represents all of the countries. It's called the Union Jack or Union Flag. One, England. England is the largest country in the UK. It is a very green place, full of fields, forests, hills and mountains. The scenery is amazing. London is probably the most well-known city, but other major cities include Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool, Newcastle and Sheffield. In England there are also many islands, such as the Isle of Wight and the Isle of Sheppey. The Isle of Wight, England's biggest island, is a great place to find dinosaur fossils. There is only a 34-kilometre gap between England and France. The 2 countries are connected by the Channel Tunnel, which opened in 1994. London is the capital city of England and the UK. Over 8.6 million people live there. It's a busy city full of famous landmarks. You can see Buckingham Palace and Trafalgar Square. You can even go up the tallest building in Europe, the Shard. The Houses of Parliament are home to the UK government. You can see Big Ben there too. Most people think Big Ben is the name of the clock, but it's the name of the bell inside the tower. Getting around London is easy. You can ride in a famous black cab or hop on a double-decker bus. The London Underground, or the Tube, is a fast way of travelling around London. The Tube is the oldest railway network in the world.
Fast fact! English people drink more tea than anybody else in the world.
Two, Wales. Wales is located to the west of England. Wales is often called the land of song. It's a land of music, poetry and storytelling, as well as great natural beauty. The Snowdonia National Park is one of the most beautiful places in Wales. It is home to Mount Snowdon, the highest peak in Wales. Sir Edmund Hillary trained on Mount Snowdon before climbing Mount Everest. The largest lake and highest waterfall in Wales are in Snowdonia too. There are more castles in every square mile of Wales than any other place in Europe. Some famous castles are Conway Castle and Carnarvon Castle. Prince Charles was crowned Prince of Wales in Carnarvon Castle in 1969. Sheep are everywhere in Wales. They are like tiny white dots all over the countryside. Farmers use sheepdogs to herd the sheep. Every year there is the Welsh National Sheepdog Trials, where dogs compete to show off their skills. In the past, many Welshmen worked in mines. Most were coal mines, but there were also some gold mines. Life was hard working underground all day. The miners used to sing as they went to and from work. To this day, in almost every village, there are male voice choirs in Wales. Listening to them sing can bring tears to your eyes. Many people in Wales speak Welsh. There is a saying, "It is a blessing to be a Welshman who speaks Welsh." All the road signs in Wales are in both Welsh and English.
Fast fact! There is a village in Wales called Llanfair Pwllgwingl go Gellill un Dropwyl Llandisilio go Gogoch.
Scotland. Scotland is in the north of the UK. It is a country rich in beauty and history. Scotland is split into the Highlands at the top and the Lowlands at the bottom. Scotland has also got nearly 800 islands. A trip to Scotland is a great chance to visit some of the many castles. Cawdor Castle is often linked to Shakespeare's play Macbeth. The most famous of Scotland's traditional instruments is the Great Highland Bagpipe. Bagpipes were once used by Scots to scare away their enemies. Tartan cloth, a type of woolen cloth, is famous all over the world and is used to make the traditional Scottish kilt. The people in the Highlands were the first to make tartan. They used plants and berries to colour the wool. There are thousands of patterns of tartan to choose from. Probably the favourite of all Scottish wildlife is the cute Highland cow. It is a very strong animal with lots of hair to keep it warm in the winds and the rains of the Scottish Highlands. Scotland is the home of golf. There are about 578 golf courses there. The most famous place for golf lovers is St Andrew's Links. The old course there is one of the oldest golf courses in the world. Every 25th of January, Scottish people celebrate Burns Night. This is when they remembered the birth of Robert Burns, the national poet of Scotland. His poem, Auld Lang Syne, is sung all around the world at midnight on Hogmanay or New Year's Eve.
Fast fact! The unicorn is the national animal of Scotland.
Northern Ireland. Ireland is known as the Emerald Isle because it is so green thanks to all the rain it gets. Northern Ireland is full of beautiful landscapes. Its green forests, dramatic coastlines and many castles make it look like something out of a fairy tale. There are many beautiful lakes or lochs in Northern Ireland. In the middle of Northern Ireland, you can find Loch Ness. It is the largest lake in the UK and is home to thousands of birds. It is one of the biggest bird sites in northwest Europe. People visit the peaceful loch to fish for eels and salmon or to go bird watching. The coastline of Northern Ireland offers some of the most amazing views in the UK. You can travel over 40 kilometres along the Antrim Coast Road, with the sea right next to you all the way. The waters in this part of the country, however, can be dangerous, as the sea is often rough. You can see lighthouses on the rocks, warning ships of the dangers of the sea here. With over 500 shipwrecks in the area, lighthouses are an important feature in Northern Ireland. The RMS Titanic is probably one of the most famous ships in the world, and it was built in Belfast. Years ago, Belfast was one of the world's greatest ports. It was also famous for building magnificent ships. The Titanic, at the time it was built, was the biggest man-made object ever made. As it stood in the shipyard, you could see it from all over Belfast. Titanic Belfast, a fantastic museum, which is the most popular attraction in Northern Ireland, is a permanent reminder of one of the most famous ships in history.
Fast fact! George Best, one of the most famous footballers ever, was born in Belfast.
UK landscapes. The UK is full of fabulous landscapes. There are high mountains, long rivers, and long sandy beaches. The River Severn is so long that it starts in one country and ends in another. It starts in the Welsh Mountains, then crosses over into England and eventually ends up in the Atlantic Ocean. At 1,344 metres, Ben Nevis is the highest mountain in the UK. Its name means mountain with its head in the clouds. Located in the Scottish Highlands, around 125,000 people climb to the top of it every year. The UK is full of beautiful beaches and coastlines. Rhossili Bay in Wales is often called the best beach in the UK. Its 5 kilometres of soft golden sand stretch further than your eye can see. When the tide goes out, you can walk to a nearby island, or just sit on the beach and watch the seals playing in the surf. Six, UK landmarks. Some landmarks are created by nature, others are man-made. All are amazing. The Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland attracts thousands of visitors every year. The 40,000 rock columns leading out into the sea are an unusual sight. But how did the columns appear? Scientists believe they were formed after a volcano erupted. There is a famous legend, however, that says the columns are the remains of a pathway built by a giant called Finn McCool. Stonehenge is a well-known and mysterious landmark in England. The ancient stone circle is around 5,000 years old. Why was it built? Some people believe it was a place to worship the sun, but no one knows for sure. How was it built? Archaeologists who have studied Stonehenge believe the huge stones were from over 30 kilometers away. No one knows how they carried them there. That's a mystery too. Edinburgh Castle looks down on the pretty streets of Edinburgh in Scotland. It is the most important castle in Scotland. It sits on top of an old volcano, about 80 metres above the city. Many members of the royal family have lived and died there. Edinburgh Castle is also home to Mons Meg, a giant cannon that is fired every day except Sunday at 1 o'clock. Seven, bring your umbrella. Rain, rain, go away, come again another day. This famous rhyme is a good description of the weather in the UK. Rain in the UK is not unusual. In fact, it rains there about 1 in 3 days on average. But you don't always need Wellington boots and umbrellas. Some parts of the country are actually quite dry. For example, London receives less rain each year than Rome and New York City. It's difficult to predict the weather in the UK. It changes from day to day and from region to region. There are slightly different climates depending on where you are. For example, the northeast of the UK has got cool summers and cold winters. However, the southeast has got warm summers and mild winters. But how warm are the summers? Well, it's very unusual for the UK to have high temperatures. England is generally the warmest of the four countries, and Scotland is the coolest. The average temperature for July in Glasgow, Scotland is 19 degrees Celsius, compared to 22 degrees Celsius in London. The UK doesn't have much extreme weather, although there are sometimes floods and hurricanes.
Fast fact! Ben Nevis in Scotland is the coldest place in the UK.
Eight. Traditional treats. Let's start our day in Northern Ireland with a fry-up. People eat fried breakfasts all over the UK, but in Northern Ireland there are extra ingredients that make it the tastiest of all. As well as bacon, eggs, sausages, mushrooms, beans and tomatoes, the Irish fry has also got soda farls and potato bread. Now on to Wales for lunch. Try Welsh rarebit, a dish that dates back to the 18th century and is still popular today. Welsh rarebit is melted Welsh cheese and mustard on top of toasted bread. Is it tea time yet? Cakes and biscuits are popular in the UK, especially at tea time. In Scotland, try a piece of Dundee cake. It's a traditional fruit cake. They say the cake was created for Mary, Queen of Scots. She didn't like cherries in her fruit cake, so the bakers used almonds instead. Finally, have bangers and mash for dinner in England. This is sausages, mashed potato and gravy. But why are sausages called bangers? Because years ago they contained lots of water. This sometimes made them explode in the frying pan. Thankfully, this doesn't happen anymore.
Fast fact! The world's first chocolate bar was made in Bristol in 1847 by Fry and Sons.